I would like to acknowledge the report which has been prepared by your rapporteur, Mr. Ivo Weigl, which to a large extent corresponds to the findings of our 2014 progress report on the country. I welcome the supportive stance the European Parliament has taken towards the country's efforts in the accession process. In our progress report, we repeated our recommendation to open accession negotiations, but raised our serious concerns about selective justice, problems with freedom of expression, politicization and the lack of constructive political dialogue in the country. The current political crisis has further exacerbated all these issues. I will come to this in a second. As the draft resolution points out, the level of alignment with the EU acquis remains high, but decisive action is required from Skopje to address backsliding in several key areas. I share your concerns that delays in setting a date for the start of accession negotiations have added to the frustration of the population in the country and also affected the sustainability of previous reforms as well as the leverage of the Union as such. As regards the current political events in the country, I visited Skopje in February and expressed my very serious concerns to all political leaders. All of them must step back from the brink. They are all playing with the future of their country. In my frequent and ongoing contacts with the political leadership and the opposition, I continue to political actors to engage in constructive dialogue within the Parliament, focusing on the strategic priorities of the country and all its citizens. They have no time to lose. I also reiterated that investigations are to be conducted by the proper authorities, notably the judiciary, totally independently, transparently and rapidly, with full regard for due process and the presumption of innocence. In this respect, I welcome any initiative taken by European political party groups and individual MEPs to help overcome the crisis and welcome their willingness to engage further. The Commission will work closely with the MEPs in this respect. I would like to reiterate that the Commission stands ready to provide support while fully insisting on the separation of powers. The Commission could support efforts to improve checks and balances and address failures, for instance through the assessment on continued concerns about the independence of justice. Meanwhile, irrespective of the origins of the wiretapping, which needs to be investigated, any potential wrongdoing revealed through their disturbing content must be investigated and appropriate consequences must be taken, especially if it impinges such fundamentally on the rule of law and separation of powers. At the time when public trust in institutions is low, all public figures must act responsibly and take accountability for their actions in their own interest. Turning to the issue of good neighbourly relations, I agree with you that it is an essential part of the country's progress towards the European Union. While the country has good relations with its Western Balkan neighbours, relations with Greece and Bulgaria remain affected. It is of the utmost importance that there are continued efforts to improve the overall climate for cooperation and trust. Good neighbourly relations remain essential parts of the enlargement process, and the EU's own history shows that working out compromises on contested issues is the best way to enhance regional cooperation and move forward. I would also like to use this opportunity to highlight the importance of maintaining good inter-ethnic relations. They remain fundamental for the very functioning of the country and its EU perspective. To build on the positive lessons learned so far, the review of the Ohrid Framework Agreement is important and should be soon converted into policy recommendations. Finally, let me stress that renewed efforts from all sides are needed to improve relations, and trust between parties needed to be strengthened. So therefore, I urge all parties to respect the rule of law and the independence of the judiciary and the freedom of the press. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.